Welcome back to Ticket Property, powered by Moving Hub. We're excited to announce a partnership with Real-Time Agent who'll be providing the show access to property data from the weekend's results. As you can see, they're scrolling down the bottom of the page. To discuss these results and what's happening in the world of real estate is one of the fastest growing real estate agencies in Melbourne's north. The director of Ray White Gladston Park is Phillip Mercieca. Phillip, welcome to the show.
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me, Kris. I appreciate it. How are you?
No worries. Good, thank you, Phillip. Phillip, tell us about what's happening in the world of real estate, particularly in the area that you're selling.
Yeah, so fantastic activity. I've been personally in this area for 17 years. So in the city of Hume, we cover areas from Tullamarine, sort of northern suburbs, down to Greenville, that Nicholm Road corridor, and fantastic area to be in. So we're seeing definitely a spike in the market. It's been fantastic over the past few months. So definitely a lot of activity about, which has been great compared to the last 18 months that we've had.
Is there any specific demographic that you're finding coming to the area, or is anything attracting them to those suburbs?
Yeah, definitely. So the demographic, I guess, with our area, we deal with a whole range of buyers, Kris. We do a lot of sort of sales from sort of mid $300,000 units to $600,000 property. So a lot of that first home buyers is definitely what our property in the sort of Tullamarine, Gladston Park, West Meadows area is made up of. And then once you drive down to Fortunate within our area, we cover sales from $800,000 up to sort of mid $1 million, 1.5s as well. So definitely a whole range of buyers, predominantly first home buyers, and then you've got your second, third home buyers who are upsizing from the immediate area as well.
And what's the market been like now compared to what it's been over the last 18 months?
Yeah. So it's been great. I mean, the last 18 months, it was still consistent. It was just a lot slower. The buyer activity dropped off. I guess there wasn't as much available in terms of listings as well. But over the last 3 months, I would say throughout Melbourne, obviously the activity's just jumped up, and I think you can put that down to a couple things. Interest rates obviously dropping again to now an all-time record low has definitely put a lot more confidence in the buyers. The banks are starting to ease up in terms of lending as well. That was a bit of an issue there for a good 6 or 12 months where buyers weren't sure, do we hold off, do we wait? Then you've got, I guess now we're in spring, so definitely a lot more available in terms of listings, but the main thing is the demand. Where it's very high demand, and the stock levels are still quite low, where we're seeing a lot of buy activity, whether it's open for inspections, Kris, or even attending auctions. You go back 12 months, a year and a half ago, we're probably lucky to see maybe 1 or 2 bidders at auctions. Now we get to auctions and we're seeing anywhere from 3, 4, 5 bidders per auction, which is fantastic.
And obviously last week, the long weekend with the Melbourne Cup holiday, the number of auctions using the data from Real-Time Agent significantly increased from last week to this week. Obviously they impacted yourselves as well. Yeah,
correct. The last couple of weeks have been brilliant actually. The clearance rates were up around 80-85%. And again, just a lot of activity. I think over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've had something like 10-15 auctions, and they've all cleared well. They've all sold well with numerous underbidders on each auction, which is fantastic. So it looks like it's going to be hopefully a good lead up between now and Christmas. We're only about 6-7 weeks away now, so there's only a short period. But I think it should be a good run for property owners and property sellers alike between now and Christmas. Yeah.
And in your view, Phil, what's been the key factors that have shifted the market?
So again, those factors I touched on earlier, interest rates, obviously record low there, banks easing up lending has been a big impact. That's probably what seized, I think, the confidence in buyers. And just the fact that at the moment there is obviously more available for the buyers to look at, so more listings available, but we're still seeing a big demand amongst buyers. I think there's a bit of fear there as well that the market's going to keep climbing as we head towards next year. So we're seeing a lot more buyers, Kris, attend our open homes and our auctions, trying to get in the market as they're seeing the prices rise.
Are you finding more established buyers come into auctions, or is there a mixture of first home buyers entering the market purely because of the
we work in a bit of a range, so it really depends on the property. But anything sort of sub, $600,000, anything that $500,000 to $600,000, there's certainly a lot of the the first home buyer type. Predominantly, I'd almost say 80-90% are first home buyers. You've got a bit of an investor mix in there as well. Investors trying to get in. We've seen a lot more investors now purchasing property through their super funds, so self-managing super funds. And then once you sort of hit that $700,000 plus, towards 1.2, 1.3 mil, we're seeing the second, third homeowners who already live within this area and they're obviously loving the area they live in and just looking at upsizing for the family.
Do you foresee that the first home buyer grant initiative by the government will change the way the first home buyers attend these auctions with the approach that things are now affordable with the 20%?
Yeah, that's a good
taken out?
That's a good point, Chris. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's probably one key feature for first home buyers in terms of that buyer confidence. I mean, the government assisting, obviously, in terms of how they can pay deposits is going to help that. So I don't think it's going to change it much, but I think it's just going to help it. But certainly, even your stamp duty cuts for first home buyers, that's definitely been a major impact, I think, for the last sort of 6 months in terms of giving that confidence to a first home buyer. You've got those key factors that I think for a buyer where you're trying to get into the property market, trying to climb that property ladder or just getting your foot in the door, it's probably the best time it's been for a long time to be a buyer and to purchase a property. Yeah.
And is it a good time to be buying, or is it best time to be selling your house?
Yeah, good question, $1 million question. But I think a bit of both at the moment. I definitely think it's still a great time to be a buyer, especially at the moment, heading towards spring. There's a lot more listings available. Again, interest rates. You go back 1 o'clock 15, 20, 25 years ago. Interest rates up around sort of 17, 18%. So, interest rates at the moment, record low rates, so great time to be buying. There's definitely a lot of stock around. Obviously, this time of year now, spring, there's a lot of sellers where I think Christmas has crept up pretty quick. So there's going to be a bit more stock come on the market. So great time to be a buyer. There's choice out there. And for a seller, if you look back over the last 6 to sort of 18 months, it's definitely the best time to be a seller for that period of time that we're seeing. Prices have obviously lifted in some areas here, Gladston Park, Tullamarine, even Greenvale. We're talking some $1 million homes. We've seen jump 5 to 10%, which is a big jump on that price point. So prices have gone up. Clearance rates about a year ago were hovering around 50%. Now they're up around 80% in our area. Some places 90%. So definitely, I think you've got the best of both worlds. It's great to be a buyer on one hand, and then you look at sellers, and there's definitely sellers taking advantage of it. Where we're seeing, we had a few auctions on the weekend where we're seeing some reserves push $50,000, $80,000 above reserves, which is fantastic.
What's your advice for a buyer and a would-be seller in the market these days?
It's always been, do your research, do due diligence in terms of where you want to buy. But if it's going to be a long-term thing, see what the areas are doing around it. I guess the key factors for location. You want good schools, shops. Close to the freeways and obviously access into the city. So just do your research in terms of the area you want to buy in and have a good look at what's been selling around that immediate area. And for a seller, I think it's all timing. Sometimes the market can change sort of week to week, month to month. You want to be looking at that particular time, what is comparable to your home, what agents are selling in your area at that point in time. It's always good very hard to do it, always trying to choose a time where there's less stock or less comparable properties on the market to try to attract as many buyers as you can. And obviously as a seller, I think the major thing is choosing a great agent that's going to market your property to the best ability, show off the features of the home, and try to attract the best market, and in turn, obviously, have the best result you can. Yeah.
And with Christmas around the corner, with 4 or 5 weeks left before you guys start to close down, are you expecting the market to continue strong for the remainder of the year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're only about, like you said, 5-6 weeks away. We're now listing auctions, almost booking out auctions for December. So I can definitely see the run that we're having now with that buyer activity continuing. Definitely Christmas. I think the interesting thing will be once we hit the new year, Jan, Feb, that first quarter of the year, what that's going to do. But I certainly can see the rest of this year continuing on as it has. There's definitely a lot of underbidders who have missed out over the past few months trying to get into the market. So I think the next few weeks worth of auctions are definitely going to be positive auctions with a lot competition. Yeah.
It'd also be great to review the averages that we've got from real-time agents scrolling across the screen. You had a number of auctions over the weekend. How many bids did you have per sale?
Yeah, so we've seen a bit of a mix also, Chris. We actually had on the weekend 4 auctions, a couple with the activity in the market, a lot of those auctions selling pre-auction too. But for the auctions we had 2 auctions, and we saw 2 or 3 bidders at each auction, which is fantastic. And a couple of them sort of pushing, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over reserve, which is fantastic for our sellers as well.
And to finish off, what are your thoughts on 2020?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I think we've seen that now in the market now for the last year and a half. So I personally think it's going to continue strong. It's all going to come down to, I guess, again, that sort of supply, if there's a lot of listings that come on. But I think the demand's going to continue on. There's definitely a lot more buyer confidence, especially if the banks are talking about reducing rates again, easing lending, which definitely helps the assistance to those first home buyers. So I think the buyer confidence will continue on next year. So yeah, we can see it continuing in terms of that clearance rates. I can see it sort of being at mid 70% clearance rates next year. And I think prices will continue on a gradual incline next year, which will be fantastic for sellers and home buyers alike, I guess.
Phillip, thanks for coming on the program. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for having me.
This is Ticker, your new source for news.